Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Lovers Podcast. My name is Marley Silverbrand, and it's been a while. We're on summer break for like the longest time, and we're excited to be back. Although we're changing things up just a little bit, just because it is now day 100 of the WGA strike, and the SAG-AFTRA is striking alongside the WGA for the first time in like God knows how long. And to be honest, when we were on summer break, we thought that the strike would end numerous times. Like we thought that the studios would come to their senses and pay the writers and actors like what they're worth. But that isn't the case. So we decided to pivot our content. We're going to be talking about movies in the Letterboxd Top 250 that aren't part of struck companies, and kind of like doing more like anime talk and just kind of like more fun conversations about movies that are made by the people that make them, not necessarily promoting like the actual work, like the hard work of the people that make the reason why that make the content that uh makes basically puts this podcast like off the ground. Like if we didn't have movies, we wouldn't be talking about movies uh like on this podcast. Like there would be no point. But joining me today, she was on the Little Women episode. And also, I think this is a perfect podcast to have you on because Greta Gerwig, director of Little Women, also directed Barbie. Megan, how are you doing today?
Good. Hey, I'm doing great.
it,
Hey, thank you for having me back.
yeah. First of all, we were doing. If people have been following us on Instagram, by the way, you should follow both of us on Instagram. You should follow Megan, especially at Megan Z World. But we're doing a summer movie wager where we basically predicted the top 10 highest grossing films of the summer. And Megan, I'm just gonna give you like a chance to just this is your victory lap, to be honest. I'll give you the stage like right now.
Yes. So why Marley mentioned Barbie is I put Barbie as my number 2 pick because I knew that Barbie was going to have a great marketing campaign. Like probably back in like I would say March or so when the first trailer dropped or whenever the first trailer dropped, I already knew that this is going to be probably the biggest movie of the summer, if not one of the biggest movies. So at first, well, I have to admit, I put Guardians as number 1 because it was like the big movie of the summer at the time. We did a summer movie wager back in April, but I have to put Barbie as number 2. It's going to be a big one. Like I already know. And I'm so glad I did because right now lead.
It's
But
right now.
the Guardians like yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We
Go
have a
ahead.
lag going on too. Like a
Yeah.
lag.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, so I think my putting Guardians as my number 1 definitely helped me out a lot. Um, I put Oppenheimer as number 10, which I'm regretting. I wish I put Oppenheimer at number 3, but I have to admit, like back in April, we didn't even know Oppenheimer was going to be such a big hit either, especially with the Barbieheimer thing. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I put that on my list as my top.
Yeah, as of right now, Barbie has made $478 million domestically, and if I put it at number 7, and if I knew that like Barbie would have made this much money, I would have obviously put it a lot higher. But I make my list like every single year on this summer movie wager that we do based on like the general public on what they think they would be interested in, and I think that my thoughts are on the general public are generally I think that they see a lot of trash, and knowing that Oppenheimer and Barbie, two of the greater films that came out like this year, really well made films, it gives me hope for like the general public like going to see movies, just because like one in Barbie directed by a woman, the first film directed by a woman to make $1 billion, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah. I well, I don't know about that, but it's like the highest grossing film for a woman director.
Yeah, which is incredible too because like that Barbie debuted on less screens than Oppenheimer. It didn't have like the premium screens like Oppenheimer did with like IMAX 70 millimeter. Greta Gerwig did that with like next to nothing screens, which is an incredible feat. And I know I've stated on this podcast how I think Greta Gerwig is a little bit overrated, even though I do like Barbie a lot. I gave it 5 stars, but it's incredible like what like that film has done, even though even though it is like distributed by one of the worst studios, like in my opinion, Warner Brothers Discovery, which is plastered all over that movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like I have to ask you about like that those shameless plugs that Warner Brothers Discovery was like in like the background of like all the shots in Barbie. What do you think about that? Like Megan, when you're watching, you've seen it 4 times, right? Have you?
I've seen it 4 times, and yeah, like yeah, Warner's name is stuff is all over it, and I kind of hate that I've watched so many like Warner Discovery movies this year because they are like my least one of my least favorite studios ethically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my least favorite studio ethically is Disney right now. But anyway, that's a whole other story. Or like for another time of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a corporate movie. I mean, Barbie and Mattel and all that stuff. Like, this movie is clearly made to sell products like 90% of the movies now. But
Right.
you know what? It did a good job without trying to seem like, hey, buy this product, which I could appreciate. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a big commercial
Yeah.
for the studio and what are, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a big commercial for the studio and also for like Mattel as well. But I do love that it's just kind of like Greta Gerwig had to throw her little like her all of her like typical themes in there, and even like Noah Baumbach kind of like kind of just helping her out because they are married and now, and I don't know. I just think it's Greta Gerwig's like best film like that she's made so far, and the fact that she's only made like 3 films and she's already like part of like a cinematic universe. Like supposedly Mattel is like already starting the Mattel cinematic universe, which they coined that on Twitter or whatever you want to call it now, X or Threads or whatever. But Mattel calling it the cinematic universe, like Marvel already has that, the MCU. It's like Mattel, come up with something, come up with something else.
Exactly. Now that's how I feel too. And I watched this one video on YouTube by Broe Deschanel, and she talked about how she was cynical about Barbie and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of talks about like the more like kind of like it's clearly made to sell you products and stuff like that, and how people are kind of like, oh, but such a fun movie, which I'm like, I get her point a lot too,
Mm-hmm.
and this was kind of the test of the Mattel cinematic universe. But I think the reason why Barbie is more successful, and I think will probably be the most successful out of the bunch that we know of so far, is that we were waiting for as a Barbie fan myself, we were waiting for a Barbie live action movie for the longest time. The closest thing we had to that was the movie Life Size with Tyra Banks and Lindsay Lohan. That was the closest thing to a Barbie movie, even though it wasn't a Barbie movie. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to see this come to fruition. The marketing campaign, like I mentioned before, was extremely good, like an amazing campaign. And so I'm like thinking, how are they going to replicate that with Polly Pocket? Which I'm like, okay, like growing up, I'm like, I kind of played with Polly Pocket, mostly chewing on the clothes and the shoes. If you know, you know. But if it was like, but there's also gonna be an Uno movie, which I'm like, how are you gonna make an Uno movie? There's gonna be Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I'm like, okay, I could kind of see it, but is it gonna be that successful? I'm not sure. It's just all these random toys, which I'm like, I rather just see Barbie expanded to like 3 movies, like maybe have an Alan movie. I would love to see an Alan movie because Michael Cera was amazing in that. And then, or even just like a Ken spinoff, but I feel like Ken's story kind of ended. Even though I love Ryan Gosling, I kind of feel like I don't know. But some people are saying they want a Ken movie because he did so well. But I don't know. We'll see about that. But I definitely want to see more spin-offs within the Barbie universe.
You just kind of spoke brilliance when you just kind of like. I hope Mattel or some Greta Gerwig is listening to this live stream and say like and heard the Alan movie, because I would be front row. Like, these studios need to pay the writers and actors like what they're worth so we can get the Alan movie, because I would be there front row day one to see every moment, every second of that movie. Alan was incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yes, he was. Yeah, like we really need to see a Michael Cera come back, and this is like our first one, and I think he's actually signed on for another movie too, one with Kristen Stewart. I'm like, oh my gosh, like the naughties to early 2010 most awkward actors coming back for like a road trip movie. I'm so excited for that whenever that's gonna come out. Like, like I'm super hyped. So I'm like, no, I would love to see an Alan movie, like because Michael Cera again was such a delight and one of my favorite characters, or even
Right.
just like a weird Barbie movie with Kate McKinnon.
Oh yeah, Kate McKinnon. Like I've only seen Barbie once, and like the entire time I saw Kate McKinnon like on screen as weird Barbie when she's like doing the splits, I'm just like, her hips must have hurt throughout the entire like production schedule, just because the way she was like positioned in every scene is like, it just made myself hurt.
I gotta look up some behind the scenes stuff, to figure out if she was really doing the splits or not. But that was really funny. Also, I think another idea that would be really fun if they do kind of like an Island of Misfit Toys thing, like they did in the movie with the discontinued Barbies, but actually have their own like spin-off. That would be also amazing too.
Midge, the pregnant Barbie. We need it.
You know what? Okay, here's the thing about Midge. Justice for Midge. I don't like how they treated her in the movie. Because Midge was my favorite Barbie growing up, Midge and the Happy Family collection, and she was not discontinued. Actually, she was one of the dolls that had spin-offs too. She had to get redesigned, but yeah, she was continued. So that's a little flub on, they added some artistic liberties in that regard, but
Right.
she wasn't discontinued.
Well, you mentioned how you.
She was, because they don't make those dolls anymore. But I mean, it wasn't like she was on the shelves and completely shelved after that, or well, she like off the shelves rather, because it's a doll.
Right. She's gone but not forgotten. Midge.
Yes.
But you did mention earlier that how much you loved like the marketing like campaign for like Barbie, and Barbenheimer was a success. As much as I regretted like Barbenheimer, like I loved like every aspect of it, that like these fan bases were rallying behind like these two different films, and people were excited to like go to the movies for like a double feature, because I thought before Barbenheimer was a thing, I thought I was the only one that actually went to the movie theater and saw two movies like back to back. And Barbie and Oppenheimer really like kind of like brought that to the mainstream, which I think that's like absolutely incredible. It shows like in like the numbers too, because Oppenheimer has made 238 million domestically, and Barbie, as I mentioned, was 478 million domestically. Like half of that is like the 50% that went to Barbie first or after. I just think that's incredible that Oppenheimer got like this Barbie boost, this pink boost, and I don't know. It's really nice to see in my opinion.
It is really nice to see too, because like the first time I really heard about the whole Barbenheimer thing is that meme that was kind of going around like, oh my gosh, like Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out the same day. Like, and like I just a poll on my Instagram when I saw a meme that was kind of like, oh man, this is like the McDonald's like boys toy and also girls toy, like Barbie's for girls, Oppenheimer's for boys, but ended up not being like that. Like both audiences liked it a lot. I would say like, but in a twist of events, I see more general audiences liking Barbie more than Oppenheimer because of thing and whatever. But it's just like, but anyway, going back to my poll, I did a poll. I said, okay, what's everyone going to see? Are they going to see Barbie, Oppenheimer, or a double feature? And a lot of people said Barbie first and then Oppenheimer later. But then I did a poll again. Everyone said double feature. Almost everyone did. Or just Barbie. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this was actually a big internet event.
That's incredible. And going back to like my list, like I think like when we did the live on Instagram kind of revealing our lists, we were both talking about like movies that would quote unquote save cinema, quote unquote. For the audio listeners, I'm using just quote fingers. And I obviously put Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I thought Tom Cruise was he's Mr. Movie Man. Like on social media, people see him as like this Mr. Cinema. He likes movies in the theater. Like this is the like Top Gun Maverick was huge, and boy was I wrong. And like little did we know that like the cinema needed an atomic bomb and the power of pink. The power of pink that was going to save cinemas.
Exactly. And I think it's because like people are having sequel fatigue, also superhero movie fatigue. And even though this is one is a biopic, which is like hit or miss, and then the other one mostly misses if you're like really into like the cinephile community, really into like Oscar type of movies, because those are like all biopics pretty much.
Yeah.
And then versus and then of course Barbie is a part of a popular IP, but it's still technically an original film, even though it's about a popular IP. Like, well, I'm using original loosely, but it's like it's just something different. And people are waiting for something different. Barbie fans were excited to see a Barbie movie come to fruition, especially when with Margot Robbie as well, because before, like, they were trying to get Amy Schumer to play Barbie. I don't know what the heck was going to go on. It was actually picked up by Sony at first, the first version of Barbie, and then Amy Schumer dropped out, and a lot of people were like, what the heck? Why would I watch this? Like, it will flop. It was Amy Schumer for sure. But but Margot Robbie, like, hey, casting. People have their doubts about Ryan Gosling, but he showed out and he did a great job. He practically stole the show, and arguably did steal the show. So yeah, it was refreshing. And then kind of going back to the marketing campaign too, like when I went to the movies, there was people wearing all pink. There's people wearing tuxedos, like for Oppenheimer. Like it was a moment. It was beautiful. It reminded me of the days of midnight movie screenings in Twilight, and everyone was dressing up, or like the days of Harry Potter and things like that. That's what it reminded me of.
Exactly. Like my screenings were pretty wild too. There was like, especially Barbie, Oppenheimer, like I saw in 70 millimeter on IMAX, and I would see like Barbenheimer shirts like of people walking in. No one was really in suits, but you could tell when you were walking into the theater when I walked into my screening for Oppenheimer, you could tell which ones were actually going to see Barbie like next, even if they weren't in costume. Like I even I didn't ask people were going to see like Barbie like after this, but I kind of like gave them like an eye glance, like, hey, are you going to see Barbie? And then they would just kind of look back at me and be like, yep, totally am. And it's like it's totally like a nonverbal communication. And I just love that. I usually like going to movies alone and like having like the cinema experience all to myself, and don't really like kind of like rowdy audiences. But like with Barbie, like there's people like
Mm-hmm.
having like the time of their lives, and I was just enjoying it, enjoying that people were in back in like the theater, like having like a collective experience and just having like a great time, like an experience that I enjoy pretty much every single weekend. And I hope people will return to have like these experiences, and it doesn't have to be just Barbie, but the fact that it's like Barbie and Oppenheimer that saved theaters, it's still wild to me.
Exactly. Yeah, like when I went to see Barbie the opening night, I only was able to Barbie. But like that was a great experience. Like that's a movie because I typically go to movies by myself, but I went to see it with one of my friends. And like that's the type of movie you need to see with a lot of people. The crowd needs to be energetic because it's a comedy. You should have fun. You should be able to like, have little fun quips, not like straight up like talk the entire time, but
Mhm.
just like, it's a react, things like that. Oppenheimer, you definitely have to be quick because you're gonna miss something if you did. But like Barbie is a fun movie, and like each time I saw Barbie, like there was people actually having really fun reactions, and even seeing it yesterday too, like people were like clapping, doing a really great one of the great monologues. I actually cried doing one of the montage towards the end. Not to ruin anything for someone, but like that was the first time after seeing it 4 times I was like, wow, it's actually hitting me.
Right.
But like, it's a experience. Like, yeah, it does feel like cinema's back, and I mean, it'd be really hard to get that momentum back after what we've been getting recently for movies. And I understand for studios, it's kind of like the safest bet to go with popular IPs, but everyone is just so tired of them. So,
Exactly.
so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like what I think it is great too for the success of Barbie and Oppenheimer is like to kind of like transition a little bit awkwardly but pretty smoothly into like our next topic about like these WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Like one of the main like key points that that these actors and writers are fighting for is that these studios want to use AI to replace them. And the fact that two films directed and created by actual human beings did like were successful during the summer, not just successful but just massive, they were massive successes, uh really sends a message to these studios saying like we don't want movies created by AI. We like movies that are created by actual humans. So pay these humans what they're worth. This is me talking to the studios right now.
Yeah.
Pay these humans what they're worth. They deserve every single penny, because when you do, because when they have the like right stuff available to them, they create successes like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Exactly. Like that you said it. Like once we like I just think about this too. And I've been watching a lot of low budget films and TV shows recently. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, man, if studios not only pick them up and but all pay them fairly and correctly, like dude, it's a win-win. It's a win audiences because it's something unique, something original. Because the stories are really good. Technically, they're not the best. It's because they don't have a budget. What if they
Mm-hmm.
have a budget, and what if they're able to live off of their creative ideas? Like, I find that just because you're in a creative industry, that does not necessarily mean you have to be a starving artist. I mean, that's a cliche, but it's just like just because you shouldn't really feel like I don't know how to really explain this, but there shouldn't be like certain like everyone should be like relatively equal. Like I artists deserve equal pay. They deserve it. Artists deserves a livable wage. Just because you want to do creative doesn't mean it's less valuable than a job that doesn't have a livable wage. And like what the thing about the strike is, which is really empowering, is that a lot of companies that are overworked, underpaid, actually in solidarity with the WGA and are actually doing their own strikes as well. Like there's a flight attendant strike right now, and hell, they work so hard. Like I would
Right.
not be a flight attendant. That's like an exhausting job. And then who else? I believe it was,
Well,
I
is
want to say it
UPS
was
the
UPS, also solidarity as well.
yeah, the UPS drivers, they actually just won like their like a new contract, and they were like they didn't even have to
Nice.
go on strike. Like UPS just caved and just said, "Okay, we'll just give you what you want because if you don't have UPS drivers, like this entire like economy basically just shuts down." And UPS just panicked, and they're just
Yeah.
and shout out to the Teamsters to like this is what I know. A lot of people are kind of like kind of shooting down like the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes just because they're trying to go like anti-union and like not. I'm glad a lot of those people are being silenced just because the like more people need to know like how great unions can be. Like not saying that unions are perfect,
Mm,
but there's a lot of good from unions because it's looking out for the people that do the everyday work that 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 do the everyday work that we look forward to like every single day or that help our lives out every single day. And like I feel like more there
exactly.
needs to be more unions just because
Mhm.
yeah, power to the people, power to the people.
Exactly, and like I kind of find it, like I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I always find it kind of an argument. Like people are like, "Oh, I don't get this strike or whatever," or like I even don't I don't agree with the strike, but I'm like, but they still continue to watch movies and stuff. It's giving like the same energy talking down to your barista because they make less than you. That's what
Mhm.
it kind of seems like, like it, so it's just like it's very weird. It feels very entitled. Um and I'm just like, hey, people deserve a little wage doing a job that they love and that benefits a lot of people, whether you think or not. But it's just like, hey, if you have a favorite movie or something, you know, there's a lot behind that project, and not just the 1% paid actors that are in the leads. If you have a favorite TV show that you binge, there's a lot of work behind that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many like people that are working on your favorite shows that are struggling each day. Like I remember the article that went viral like right after like the writers went on strike. The one of the bear writers, the bear that's you can watch on Hulu.
Hmm.
That that was I think it was like number one on that platform like as soon as it
Hmm.
went live. One of the writers, like when he went to the
Hmm.
Emmys, he had to rent out a tux, and it said that like when he was
Hmm.
like sitting in the audience, he had a negative bank account balance because Hulu doesn't pay their writers like what they're worth. I think like you see like all of the images of like people like sharing photos of like their residual checks and like the highest one that I've seen so far have been like 38 cents, which just sounds like the one where I just kind of like screamed like in insanity is like the Orange is the New Black. Like I forget that
Yes.
person's name, but like I think that it was like the showrunner for Orange is the New Black, and they got like a total of like like $5 or something like that for like the entire run of Orange Is the New Black,
Yeah.
which is go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, again, sorry about the lag, y'all. But yeah, no,
It's
there
cool.
was a lot of people are actually coming forward from Orange is the New Black. Yeah, a lot of the supporting actresses have like one of the supporting actresses made like $20 a year, and she was on like every single season of Orange is the New. And she also works at not worked at, but she also worked like I think one of the Law and Order series, and she gets like $700 a year compared. So it's like that's network television compared to compared to streaming. Like there's a difference, but even like $700 residuals per year is not a lot. you know so it's like that's why also network television is also striking too, like whoever's under the AMTP umbrella. That's why they're
Right.
struck studios.
Yeah, it's $700 a year. You can't pay rent on that. And as much as these studios want like these actors to pay rent like with their acting ability, which unfortunately landlords don't accept acting in as payment. So pay these people what they're worth, and they can go back. They can go back to work creating like the art that we love. Uh, but to kind of like pivot out of like the strikes, I know we talked about Barbenheimer already. We talked about like the strikes, obviously, but we love movies here at the Rail Lovers podcast, and Megan, you love movies as well. I just kind of want to get into like a conversation on like what was that one movie that like we watched when we were younger, and just like we just knew it, like that was the movie that we knew that we would love movies forever.
Oh, that's a great one. It wasn't when I was well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm older now, but I a movie that made me really love movies and was like, "Oh, wow, movies could be made like this," was Pulp Fiction. And it was my friend Mick. He introduced me to that movie when we were like about like 15 or so. We were in this film camp together. I mean, obviously, I had an interest in film because I wanted to do film, but
Mm-hmm.
we were in a film camp together, and he like, had a very large like knowledge of film, even as a young teenager. And he was talking about Pulp Fiction, how amazing it was. Also, our friend Casey too. He was like talking about how awesome Pulp Fiction was, and it happened to be on Netflix at that time. So I was just like, okay, let me check it out. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm like I've never seen a movie made like this. Like this is incredible. Like I was so blown away. And again, it wasn't like I didn't really have like an interest in movies, because there was a lot of movies I watched. Like I watched a lot of like musical too. I'm a big musical girl. I'm a big theater kid. That's actually what got me into doing the film camp too, because it was also like an offshoot of the theater camp.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like that was the movie. I was just kind of like, dang, this is amazing.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction. That I haven't seen that film since like like film school. Uh, I only watched it like in my film studies class, and I thought it was fine. Quentin Tarantino, he's hit or miss for me, to be honest. Like, it's for
Mm-hmm.
some reason that's just me. I know there's a lot of people that like Quentin Tarantino and Pulp Fiction. Obviously, I think Pulp Fiction is his best film in my opinion, and uh, like that's a great pick. But for me, uh, I was always like a cinema kid. Like I grew up like going to the theater and watching movies like all the time like there. And my first theater experience that I ever had was the moment like I always tell like the story like Back to the Future, sitting on the couch with like my brother, just watching that DeLorean back out of like that truck and just hearing that score as
Mm-hmm.
well. like really opened my eyes to like what movies can do, but that was an at home experience. The theater experience that I had
Mhm.
was Toy Story. When I watched that film in
Yeah.
1995, it was the first film that I saw in theaters that I actually like my parents allowed me to like go to the movies to like watch this, and just seeing like this animated, like this new animation like on the big screen, like I was like completely in awe of like everything. And and that's when I really like honestly like I fell in love with Pixar. And I still love like everything that
Mhm.
Pixar has done like to this day, even like the bad movies that they make, like Good Dinosaur, because Good Dinosaur is still good. It's still a good movie. But yeah, I love Toy Story. Toy Story is so great.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies too. Like, there's movies that I definitely loved watching growing up. Like, Toy Story is one of them. Lion King, of course. Beauty and the Beast. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid. Like, it's a lot of those type of movies, but like the whole like internal like, oh man, someone made this film and like, well, I would say no. You know what? Actually, I have to take back my answer because I was always had an interest in film because when I would get DVDs or my parents would buy me DVDs growing up. I would always go to the behind the scenes feature in the
Hmm.
movies, like all the time. Every single time. I would love going to the behind the scenes featurettes. Like that was a part of my movie watching experience at home. So obviously I was really interested in how things were made. And my
Hmm.
mom actually kind of helped me with that interest too. But I think I really became a cinephile in that regard after I watched Pulp Fiction. But so yeah, I would say yeah, that was like my first experience. I can't really say like what movie I was like, oh, I have to learn the behind the scenes stuff. But I think maybe from my knowledge, from my most recent memory, is when the Lion King 10th anniversary DVD came out because they had like an extensive behind the scenes featurette. Like it was a whole other DVD, like a second DVD just talking about the making of the Lion King, and I will watch that so much. Heck, some of the parts of that made me cry because they were like all the actors were talking, not their actors, but the animators and producers were talking about their stories and how they showed it to their kids, and my gosh, like it was beautiful. Like it really
I,
is.
I I'm looking for. I actually have like that platinum edition Lion King like version like on my shelf. I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it off the top of my head because I don't organize like my Blu-rays like that. I probably should. I probably should organize my Blu-rays, but yeah, that's a really great version, and that's like one thing that like I really love, like especially with the strikes going on, people are realizing how great physical media is, especially with like these
Yeah.
studios just and streaming companies just coming in and just deleting something off their service because they don't have the rights for it anymore. And I love that this is like kickstarting like the physical media collection. Like I started collecting like physical media again like recently just for that reason alone. And there's ways to do that too without like going
Hmm.
to your Amazons or your Walmarts or Best Buys. Like I just go to like a local like movie store where like I swear I'm buying like new releases for like $5. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't
Oh
know how
yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it, but like the movies are beat up, but it's still like a physical copy of like this movie that I haven't watched in a really long time. And I find myself like watching like movies like a lot more now, like by putting in that disc into the PS5 or like a Blu-ray player, because you're finding like those bonus features and finding more about the movie. It's like that's like that lost that lost world that we that that got taken away with us with the streaming, which I always hated just because like streaming is just the movie. I wish streaming could figure out how to do like special features and behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah.
Mhm. Like that. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but like that was an experience. Like just the DVD featurette. Like especially for kids movies, like there was like games too. Like there was just always something very interesting. Like the intro to actually like before you even watch the movie were like so great. Like yeah, and like I actually have owned a couple recent um DVDs because I still actually have my DVD player. Sue me, I really do, but I love it. And like I have a DVD of like Nope, and their featurette is like pretty interesting too, like beforehand, and and I also have well, I don't own Pearl, but I recently rented Pearl from the library and
Mhm.
stuff. But it's like very simple because they don't really invest too much time into that because not many people are watching DVDs. But like if you watch again the DVD for anniversary. That one's amazing. The Shark Tale one is amazing. Shrek was also amazing. Shrek 2 was amazing. Like whole thing. Like of course you're making it like it was an experience to watch DVDs growing up in like the 2000s.
Yeah, and like one of my favorite things about the DVD, it was like you just said, like the DVD menus. I think my favorite. This is a good question to ask. Like what you just named like a couple, but uh, one of my favorite like DVD like menus was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and like that DVD menu was like the
Oh
Marauders
yeah.
map. And when you were searching, going through like the DVD menu, you would like be walking through like Hogwarts and stuff like that. So like, what was like your favorite kind of like DVD menu style? That
Oh, mine was kind of the more like exploratory too. Like
hmm
I would say like my first I would explain why the Lion King one is amazing is because the DVD menu actually starts off with like a little feature of Zazu, and of course it's like animated Zazu, and it's cool because this is like 2005 or
hmm
2004. But anyway, Zazu once you put the DVD in, he does like this little intro, and then you're flying with Zazu over Pride Rock, and it's so cool. And then once it actually gets to the menu, you see like the animals go across and everything. And every section is like an area of Pride Rock. So you go to like the elephant graveyard, like you go to like different, things, and then like there's also where Timon and Pumbaa are. Like it's and also the one for Lion King 1.5 too. I also have that one. I forgot exactly what their menu looked like, but I remember the second disc had a lot of and that was really fun. And then the one for Shrek 2 is pretty fun. It's very simplistic, but it's hilarious because they do a parody of the Brady Bunch where they're all kind of like looking at each other. They're all like, these different panels and just doing all these like quips and stuff. And Donkey is annoying everyone. It's good. It's a really fun one. And then Kill Bill Volume 1, they also have a pretty fun featurette too. I mean, it's very simple, but it's like it just shows kind of clips of the movie and stuff, but they I forgot what song it is, but the one that goes like dun 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 dun, dun, dun like that song plays. It's just so
yeah.
badass. So, yeah, I could listen to that
Can I
song
make
all
a
day.
can I have a can I have a confession to make? I
Of
haven't seen
course.
Kill Bill. I haven't seen Kill Bill. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
watch Kill
sorry.
Bill. I think you would think that's your favorite. You know what? Honestly, I was kind of skeptical when you said, "Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction's Tarantino's best movie," because I think Kill Bill is his best movie, or at least one of his best. So you shouldn't watch it. You should watch it. Take 4 hours out of your day to watch both of the movies.
Well, I believe one of the films is in the Letterboxd top 250. So but it's part of a struck company.
Boom.
So what
Oh,
pay the
yeah.
writers and actors what they're worth, and then I can actually watch Kill Bill and talk about it on the podcast. But yeah. uh the studios, stop being greedy. Stop being greedy. It's like it boggles my mind that like these people, like their net worth is like so large, and they talk about every day like, oh, if we actually give like the writers what they're asking for, which is 2% of like their net worth, by the way. Everyone, it's like I think it's I think that's actually what the WGA is asking for, which is something like 300 million dollars of like the
Mm-hmm.
CEO's like 2 billion like net worth. Don't quote me on that because I don't actually like know like the specific numbers, but it I don't know. It's so wild to me that like that that uh
Mm-hmm.
that these CEOs are so greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they suck.
Yeah, exactly. Down with rich people. That's all I have to say about that. But to kind of move
Yeah.
into like,
Especially Bob Iger.
yeah, yeah. Uh, but to kind of move into like our next like little game that I wanted to play with you, Megan. I have to like go into like your ask you like what was your favorite movie theater experience of like your entire life? The best movie theater experience have you ever had? You can't say Barbie because you just saw that recently. So
You right? Okay. I would say my favorite movie experience was, and that's a hard one because there's a lot of great movie experiences. But I would say the one that I could remember vividly, because of course I had like a lot of fun ones growing up too. But the one that I would say is probably one of my favorites is when I saw Twilight New Moon. Again, it's not really like a great movie, but the experience was really fun
Mhm.
because that movie came out when I was in high school. And that's when midnight screening was still a thing. So what my two of my friends saw the midnight screening like literally the, well, they were exhausted, but they were so hyped over the movie. So they were like, Megan, we're so excited to see it. Like, we're so excited for you to see it tonight. So yeah, we saw it opening night, and it was an experience because they did like trivia before the movie.
Mhm.
Everyone was like dressed up. Everyone either had like Team Edward, Team Jacob shirts. Like it was like a bunch of like emo kids there. like and like it was just like so much fun. Like it was a great experience. I remember like the scene where Jacob takes his shirt off and all the girls were like, oh my gosh, including me.
That's
Like it was like a good time. Like, man, like what a time to be a teenager. But yeah, Twilight Moon, even though the movie kind of sucks, it was still fun. Yeah, so I would say that was my favorite movie experience.
yeah.
um and then
T-
yeah, I would say that one, yeah, definitely is.
yeah, Twilight is definitely experience all around. At least for someone like me. Uh, I that's a great pick. I think for me, I go back. I'm going back to midnight screenings as well, and the last midnight screening that I ever attended was The Dark Knight. Seeing that at
Oh
midnight and
yeah.
seeing all the people dressed up as like Batman and like Bruce Wayne, and also just like The Dark Knight being Heath Ledger's like last movie that I ever like saw in theaters. This was
Hmm.
like an incredible experience of just seeing like that opening shot of like the Joker goons like zip lining in, and the entire I love like when I'm watching a movie with like everyone, and like the entire audience just goes silent as they're watching like the movie, and
Hmm.
it's just like everyone gets it that they're watching something like absolutely amazing like on the screen, so they're just shutting up, which as someone that appreciates
Yeah.
silence as someone that appreciates silence, I appreciate that like so much. I know it's kind of a basic pick for me, but it's The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. But
Hmm.
uh, but yeah.
No, that's a really good pick. No, I love it. I'm just like I'm just kind of thinking about how different our picks are. Because yours is actually like a really good film, but also that was like an experience going to movies, and mine is just like this campy pick. But again, like if I hadn't been in that setting, because I also watched other Twilight movies in theaters, it didn't hit like it did watching Twilight New Moon opening weekend.
Right.
Like I'm telling you, like that was the opening night. Yeah. Like,
Well,
yeah, we knew we were gonna be tired the next day to school.
well, if I were to
Yeah.
pick like a campy pick, I would have picked Fast X and D-Box. But I didn't want to destroy you, so I decided to go with a basic pick. But yeah,
Right.
but speaking of theater experiences, I decided to let's play a little game. You've heard of tier lists, right? You heard of tier lists?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, of course.
I think we all have. Let's see if I can get this to work for the YouTube audience. We have no one watching right now, but hopefully people will be watching like on demand. But yeah. Let's talk about our favorite movie theater snacks. Uh, this
Oh,
might get
that's a
a,
good
th-
one.
this might get a little controversial, so everyone buckle in. Hold on, let's see. Just fixing like the live a little bit. Uh, but yeah, favorite movie theater snacks. Obviously, like for anyone that knows like what like tier lists are, there's a God tier, there's an S tier, an A rank, B rank, C rank, and then D rank would be like least favorite. So let's just start off with the first one. Let's start off with Mike and Ike's. Megan, what's your Mike and Ike like pick?
Oh, disgusting. They're nasty. Nope.
D for disgusting. See, I I am not. I'm with you a little bit. I like Mike and Ike's. It like in the right setting, but I don't know if someone gave me Mike and Ike's. I couldn't tell you for the life of me like what they taste like. Like, are they just plastic?
It, they take it reminds me of plastic. It doesn't like yeah, that's right. It's like plastic and also kind of reminds me like the texture. Like I'm big on texture.
Uh-huh.
So like the texture is just so weird for me. It's like plastic, but then it gets kind of like grainy.
Yeah.
So and then like I don't know why. I don't know if this is actually true or not or if think about another candy, but it also kind of has a licorice taste to me. But I don't know. I might be thinking about something else. But yeah, your tier because I
Yeah.
hate licorice.
Mike and Ike's are definitely not my go-to. If they were like zombie apocalypse and they were the only candy left, like I wouldn't be mad, but they're definitely not my go-to. So I have to agree with you. I have to go D. Okay, so next, next is Whoppers.
I like Whoppers, but it's like the thing about Whoppers is like I can't really have like a lot of them, or I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too much. And so, but I'll put that on an S tier
An S
because I
tier.
do enjoy
Okay,
them.
okay. So it'll be a little controversial here. This is where we're first disagreeing. I don't like Whoppers at all. I think that they taste like air.
Oh,
Like there's like nothing. I hate like that feeling when you bite down onto a Whopper and it's like it's like you're eating pumice, where it's just like you bite
oh
into
my
it and
gosh!
it's
You know
just
what?
like
That's true with it. That is true.
yeah.
Okay, let's put it down to an A tier. A tier for me.
Okay,
You bite out.
can we compromise and go B tier because I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think that
fine. That's fine.
I don't think they're the worst, but I'm gonna go B. Uh, okay, so
That's
next is
fine. That's
Eminem.
fair enough. I can deal with beer.
Yeah. Okay. So
M&Ms. I
uh,
would M&Ms are good, especially mix them with popcorn to give
mhm.
a salty and sweet. So I would say it's an S tier.
Okay, I would have to agree with you if the picture here was peanut M&Ms because those are like that's my number one candy. I always get when I go to the movies, I always get peanut M&Ms and a Coke Zero, and then I go sit in the front row
Hmm.
of every single movie. Uh, I know you said S tier. I know you said S tier, but since it's showing the regular chocolate M&Ms, I gotta go one step below and go A. Are you okay with that?
Okay, that's
Okay.
fair. That's fair.
Okay. Let's go. Well, actually, since there's a level above S, let's go S. I'm willing to go S with you since
Okay.
for some reason it's God tier and
Okay.
then S. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
what I was thinking. I was just like, it's usually the opposite, but or it's usually like S is like the best. That's why you're just like, wait, S tier.
yeah. Okay. So, it would be God tier for me, but it would if they were peanut M&Ms, but since they're chocolate M&Ms, which I think are the worst type of M&Ms, in my opinion, it goes peanut M&Ms, then peanut butter, and then the regular M&Ms for me. They're just trash.
I like the mini ones. The mini ones are fun to eat.
The mini ones, I feel like they're just there. At least maybe I just think this way, but I feel like Hershey owns M&Ms, right? Is it Hershey?
Oh no, it's Mars.
Oh yeah, Mars.
Mars.
But it's probably a parent company or something like that. But I
No,
feel like
they're competitors.
oh okay. I get the M&M's like
I
fans like
I
in the
only know that
comments.
I did a book report. Sorry, I only know that because I did a book report on Mars and Hershey's, their rival, when I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
So that's how I know that.
But I feel like Mars just made the mini M&Ms just so they could say like, "Oh, they're healthy for you. Look, they're so mini. They can't possibly be bad for you." And the reason why I like peanut M&Ms is because they actually use real peanuts like inside like the chocolate. It's like chocolate covered peanuts, and I don't know. If you're not allergic to peanuts, then those would be really a great one for you. But if you are, you shouldn't eat them ever because
Yep.
but yeah. Moving on to the next candy, we have cookie dough bites. I think I might have controversial take on this one.
I think I might too. Okay, cookie dough bites. I think I'm gonna give it to a B or C tier because I think they're only good if you eat them frozen, and they're
Okay,
kind of like a weird texture.
I agree with you. I think C is a little too low, but I agree with you at B because there's another candy on this list that's also good frozen, and I think I might actually put it in the same area, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, cookie dough bites. Let's put it at B. But only if they're frozen. But the one thing I do like about theaters now is that this candy, cookie dough bites, and the candy that is, well, if you're watching on video, you know which candy I'm talking about. Movie theaters are starting to put like these candies like in the freezer, which I do appreciate. It's like before I would have to be like, hey, I would have to walk up to the concession stand and be like, hey, hey, can you put this in the freezer and I'll come back halfway through the movie and pick it up, and so they could be all nice and cold. But like these theater companies realize like, hey, these people like this candy frozen, so we should put it in the freezer. So it's like they're listening to the people.
And actually, that one is one of my favorite movie candies too. So I can't wait till we get to that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so next is Milk Duds.
I'm gonna do a B tier. They're mid to me. Like I'll eat them maybe. Like I feel like I only eat them during Halloween. You know, when they have like the office has like a bowl of candy, and then there happens to be Milk Duds when I eat them.
So I feel like I only eat them around Halloween too, but I only eat them because they're the only ones left. Because everyone ate around all the other candy.
Yeah. So I'm good with B or C.
I'm gonna put them right with Mike and Ike's. Milk Duds D. If you know what I'm saying. There's a reason why they call them duds.
I mean, you know what? Okay, D for duds, but yeah, no, it's definitely a resort candy. I mean, it's not, but like, I don't know. Like, I would say C. It's not bad if it's a last resort, but it's not
Yeah.
like amazing.
Okay. Since you're a little bit more positive than I am, I'll agree. They're not Mike and Ike's, so that's the one thing going. Like, if I were to choose between Mike and Ike's or Milk Duds, I think I would choose Milk Duds, which is
Exactly. That's it.
yeah. So I'll side with you and say it's C. So next is Raisinets. This might be our next D.
You know what? Here's a crazy thing about Raisinets. I was a kid, I used to love Raisinets. Love going to Blockbuster, that would be my candy next to Dots.
Mhm.
So and I don't know, my family, we're Raisinets family, but here's the thing, this is how we do it. We get Raisinets along with popcorn, and sometimes we put the raisins inside of our popcorn. Again, it's a sweet thing. So I would say, but alone are not as good as I remember. As a kid, I don't know what was up with me. Um, you said they're nasty as a D, but you know what? I would say for me personally, it's B level. It's not that bad.
Okay. I haven't honestly had Raisinets. I don't think I've ever had Raisinets. But I think that I have.
See, it's
But what
by default B.
so okay, so by default maybe B because I haven't had them, but if I did, they were not memorable to me. So I'm just gonna go with your judgment and say B, and just mid tier. We'll go with Raisinets mid. That's what the kids are saying now, right? Mid.
Yeah.
uh, okay, so this might be our biggest. No, I was looking at the wrong candy. Twizzlers.
Okay, here's the thing. I actually like Twizzlers, even though I said I'm not a fan of licorice. Twizzlers is the only one that I would eat. And which is really crazy because growing up, I was a Red Vines girl, but then I ate just way too many Red Vines, and now I'm like, okay, I'm a
Mhm.
Twizzlers girl. So I would say Twizzlers is definitely an S tier. I do really like Twizzlers, specifically the strawberry ones, the cherry ones, except if they're the Halloween candy ones.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
strawberry Twizzlers is my jam. Popcorn.
it's not my go-to, just because I don't like the way they get stuck in my teeth. But that's I'm not faulting the
Oh,
candy
yeah.
for that. But to kind of avoid the way they get stuck in my teeth, the way I'm not sure if I've seen this on TikTok. Maybe I should make a TikTok video to kind of like describing my experience for this. But what I do, like at least for red vines, I've done this for Twizzlers like before, like once, is I would bite off both ends and put like the Twizzler in my
Mm-hmm.
Coke Zero and drink the Coke Zero through the Twizzler
Yeah, I've
straw.
done that too. I've
So
I've done that too, and for me, I think it's kind of like I've done that just for like shits and giggles because I like because people have done that. But it's just like for me, I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture where it goes. I do have to admit, as far as the texture, Twizzlers does get pretty hard, and sometimes it feels like it's going to yank your teeth out. So I'm fine
mhm.
with a compromise, putting it down to A tier.
Okay, all right. I think that's fine. I'm good with Twizzlers at an A tier, based on the invention status like alone of turning like the Twizzler into a flavored straw. Which, by the way, why haven't businesses come up with the flavored straw yet? Unless comment down below
I
if the
know.
flavored straw exists. But yeah, that's a golden ticket idea. So
Yes, it is.
okay, okay. This I feel like this is the candy that might end our friendship. I hope not because I love you, Megan. But Bunch of Crunch. I
A
think it's
bunch of
God
crunch.
tier. I think it's God tier
I think
in
it
my
is
opinion.
too. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like that's like those are like the little crunch bites, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah, like the ones that are just like a crunch bar but just tiny, and they're just like they could pop it in your mouth and they're good, and they're pretty good
Yes.
when they're frozen too.
Yes.
Yep,
See,
God tier. Yep.
this is the candy that works both room temperature or frozen, and I feel like that's the reason why
Yeah.
why it's god tier. Like it's not like
Mhm.
cookie dough bites where it's like, oh, I only want them when frozen, but when they're room temperature, they're mid, and I'm just like, bunch of crunch, you're great all around. So god tier.
Yeah. Yep. See, that's why
Yeah,
we're friends.
yeah, exactly. Friendship is not over. But okay. Now, I've heard you mention this candy already. You used to get this at Blockbuster, right?
Yes. Yes.
Dots?
Um, okay, dots, I'm going to as okay, from a kid, I would have put a god tier. As an adult, it kind of tastes like like it tastes like flavored wax. So, I'm gonna put it at C tier.
It's just little mini candles.
Yes.
uh, I, I think these dots feel like they're wannabe Mike and Ike's. So since we put Mike and
Yeah,
Ike's
but,
at
like, they're
D,
better than Mike and Ike's, though. But,
I'm
again,
not
they taste like
trying.
flavored wax.
I'm not trying to
And
destroy your
also,
childhood. Oh, sorry,
you're gonna put
the
a
lag
D tier,
again.
that's fine, because you know what? That's fine, because the only Dots flavors that are actually really good are the red and the orange. That's the only ones that are good,
Even though they taste all the
period.
same.
The green ones are nasty. No, there's different flavors. The red ones
Are
are
they?
superior, and as a kid, yes, they are. Those are the best tasting ones. Everything else tastes like a milk bundle. Yeah, we could put it on D tier. That's fine.
Okay. Uh, yeah. I I agree with you. Flavored wax. Let's. No, I don't want to destroy your childhood nostalgia, so I will say C tier. It's like
Okay.
because I remember having them as a kid, and like I was having a fine time. It's not like a Mike and Ike where I felt like I was just like being punished. Dots was kind of like a little step up from Mike and Ike. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Reese's Pieces is the next one. Choose wisely.
I'm gonna give that to you because I'm allergic to peanut butter. So boom,
Oh,
that's to
oh
you.
crap. Well, now I feel bad saying this because I'm gonna put God tier because I love peanut
That's
butter.
fine. That's totally fine.
I love peanut butter just because I always say that the key to my heart is Reese's peanut butter cups. That's one of my favorite candies. So Reese's Pieces, that's the next best thing. If you give me Reese's, then that's the key to my heart, and I will love you forever. Not for Megan's, because if you give her Reese's, then bad things happen. So don't give Megan Reese's.
Yeah.
So just very quickly, Reese's Pieces got tier. What's this next one? Is that nachos? Yeah,
Nachos. Okay, here's the thing about nachos. I I would eat them. I would eat them without thinking about them too deeply, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes like
You're sitting.
sometimes
You wouldn't watch Oppenheimer while eating nachos.
see, you know what? Here's the thing. I actually, when I did my Barbieheimer double feature when I was able to, I wanted to get some because I was hungry and I
Yeah,
was just like, okay, that's like a meal in itself. You know what I mean? Like, and I was still recovering from my wisdom teeth surgery, so I couldn't eat popcorn at that time.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, now I could have nachos. I just can't have like popcorn with like the little like kernels and stuff. I can't, thank God, because I love popcorn. But anyway, but yeah, sometimes a plasticky cheese, I'm like, okay, I can't think too much about it. But when they add jalapenos to it, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But
Yeah.
as far as the tier list, put it at S tier.
I'm gonna go one level below. I would say A because I don't usually get nachos. I don't really like hot foods at the movies. I like everything
Interesting.
to be packaged. I like everything to be packaged and have like an ice cold like drink. Like I know it's pretty popular for movie theaters to have like pizza, hot dogs, and kind of like expanding like food items like burgers and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily like
Hmm.
things that have to get warmed up that will cause like the theater to smell. So
Oh, that's true. Hmm.
yeah. So nachos you don't really have to warm it up like except for like the cheese, and the cheese doesn't really have like that nacho cheese smell, but when you do smell it,
It
it's not
doesn't.
a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, like at my local theater, the nacho cheese isn't that bad, but like at the same time, I'm like trying not to think about it too deeply because it's like if you see a movie early, they don't warm up the cheese, and they're like, "Oh, I have to wait you have to wait like 20 minutes, like whatever. We'll hand it to you," and I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna go and get my popcorn or something."
See,
Because he's like, you have to wait for it to warm up. Yeah.
See, I feel like what you just said right there should bump it down to an A. Like if you have to wait 20 minutes for the cheese to get warm, like that's an A for sure. I don't think it's an S.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. And also too, if you have it like by itself, like my little theater, they offer jalapenos, and I'm like, okay. It's I always get. I'm like not the biggest jalapeno person, but I always get with jalapenos because it just adds more flavor. But yeah, A tier is
Okay.
fine.
Okay. All right. I think we're safe on that one. Next is
Yeah,
just a plain icy. A plain icy or Slurpee.
plain.
What
Okay,
what do you
is
call
it
it?
C?
Slurpee or
Because
icy?
those are well, they're two different brands, but that brand is icy. But I prefer Slurpees from 7-Eleven because because those are good.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as the movie theater ices, I used to love them as a kid. That's kind of a nostalgic drink. However, again, as an adult, it's just tasting like syrup. Even if you get the Coca-Cola one, it just tastes like syrup. If you get the cherry one, which I used to love as a kid, it definitely tastes like syrup. So with this, let's do. I was about to say S for syrup.
Yeah. S for syrup. S for syrup. And I will agree with you. I think it's S. I don't think it's God tier. If I was like 12 years old doing this tier list, I would say S tier, S tier, S tier. Just all these snacks, but it's just
Yeah,
like it's all sugar. And the thing that I hate most about like when I get
it's
like a
so
Coke icy and I get a Coke icy, I hate that I only get like 2 sips of actual Coke, and then it's like just
yes,
ice.
exactly. It's like, and here's the thing: it's always done like they always have, at least for my local theater. It's like they're always these big ass cups, and I'm just like, okay, I get either Coke or I get syrup, and then just ice, and then I get like syrupy ice,
Yes.
a big cup, and I never finish it. I never do. And then when it melts, it's disgusting. And I'm just like, oh, I can't. So I might have to bump it down to A or B. I'm sorry. But it
Okay.
also is like
Okay.
a movie theater staple too. So I don't know.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go A tier. We'll go. So far our A tier
Okay, let's
like list is Twizzlers, nachos, and an icy. Okay.
Hey,
Uh
that's someone's movie experience. That's someone's like movie experience right there.
right, exactly. That's someone's childhood right there. That's someone's childhood. Okay. I
Yeah,
was struggling for this in the pre-production for this live stream. Is that Cracker Jacks? Can you see that image?
I think that might be Cracker Jacks.
Who
Yes.
gets
And
Cracker Jacks at a
before I
movie
had my
theater?
note, right? Like, what is this, the 1950s? Let's put a D tier.
What were you gonna say?
It's like it's like even when I had like okay like before I got my allergic reactions and stuff to peanuts, I used to eat them, But I just only remember them eating them once when I was a kid, and I like finished the box. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
But it's
I
so random. But it's a deer tier, a D tier thing, I think, because again, that's just like a random snack.
yeah, I will agree with you. It's like I don't even think movie theaters even sell Cracker Jacks to my knowledge. Comment down below if you've ever seen Cracker Jacks at your local theater. But I thought you would get Cracker Jacks at like a baseball game because buy me some peanuts and Cracker
Yeah,
Jacks.
Dr.
I don't
Jacks,
know.
exactly. I'm just like, okay, take me out to the movie ball game. Like
Yeah.
what? Like again, this is like a 1950s theater, like some old timer that made this tier list.
Okay. So
like, huh?
D. So we both agree D for the inaccuracy for Cracker Jacks. So
Yeah.
okay. Um. Okay. So a hot dog, a movie theater hot dog. Would you spend $15 for a movie theater hot dog?
No, I spend $15 for a movie theater hot dog. Okay, here's the thing. Like another thing about me is I don't eat pork. So it's like again, a lot of it comes down to like what do I eat right now. Back when
Yeah.
I was a kid when I did eat pork, I would eat that like okay, my theater had like Nathan's hot dogs, which are delicious, but like yeah, if they're Nathan's hogs, I would say they're an S tier.
Hmm.
But the only reason why they're S tiers is because they're so damn skinny and you're paying so much for them. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm finished with my hot dog, but it's like it's mostly bun because they're really skinny. If it's just a standard hot dog, I would say it's more of an overpriced hot dog. I would also say like I would say a B tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. This
As
one is
far as
tough for
your
me.
money's worth. Yeah.
This one's tough for me because I don't necessarily like hot dogs, but I always go out of my way to buy a hot dog in any situation that I'm in. Like if I'm in New York, I'm buying a hot dog. If I'm at a movie theater, I'm buying a hot dog. If I'm at a baseball game, I'm buying a hot dog. If I'm on a
Yes.
walk somewhere, I'm buying a hot dog. So it's like
You know what?
it's like
I used to be like that too. Like I would buy hot dogs like all the time. Like and that like you're like a social hot dog eater.
yeah, yeah. A social hot dog eater. That's the nice way of putting it. So uh yeah, I kind of like that. Can we coin that actually? But
Yeah, let's coin that. Like when people are
so
like
you're
social smokers, like social like hot dog eater.
yeah. Like they're not great. Like I know that they're not great, but I'll get one I'll get one like once every year and stuff like that. Like at
Mhm.
every like location that I'm in, just because it's like they're tradition. I don't think they're
Mhm.
S, but I don't think they're as low as B. Are you willing to compromise and put them at A?
Yeah, I'm like
Like,
honestly, if this was pre anti pork Megan, then it's an A tier. That's fine.
okay, all right, okay. So let's go A. We're like right in the middle. Okay. Uh, here's the hot take. I know I say this for every
Mhm.
single candy, but um, Junior Mints.
Okay, so that is my movie candy, one of my movie candies, and I only eat them when they are frozen. With that being said, that they're only good when they're frozen, I'm gonna put it in an A tier, A or S.
Okay, this is where we agree. This is where we agree. Junior mints I only
Mhm.
eat when frozen, but I can eat them room temperature, and I feel like that gives them the edge over cookie dough bites, and why I think that they're better if they're not frozen. I still go with junior mints because one, I lately I really like the taste of mint. I think mint is such like an
Mhm.
underrated flavor, and I think more people should be introduced to it. One, because it makes your breath smell good
Yeah.
too, It's like it's
Yes,
like
that's
still
true.
brush your teeth, kids, but it will give the
Hmm.
illusion of of you just brushing your
Hmm.
teeth, and at least that I don't know. It'll just make your breath smell good, especially when you're talking to people. So that will make people feel
You
nice.
know what? That's true. Actually, I do agree with you because I have to admit, I would be lying if I said I didn't eat them. And I probably use absolutes when I said I only eat them, frozen. But I only eat them frozen at the movie theater. But if they're like, hey, we can't freeze them, I'm like, okay, because there's a small theater, independently owned theater, and I don't think they do frozen junior mints, but I always get them because I'm like,
Mm.
whatever. So I agree with
I
you. Yeah. So
yeah
S tier, S
yeah.
or God tier. Do you want to go with God tier because of the added benefit?
You see, okay, you know what? Maybe we should go God tier because of
Let's go God tier. Why not?
because of because of like the it'll make your breath smell good. So like
Yeah,
let's go God tier. Okay. Here's the next one.
God
Everyone
tier.
brace yourselves.
God tier.
Everyone brace yourselves. Popcorn. God tier.
God
Okay.
tier. God tier.
Can
Duh.
I
Uh,
S
What are you
tier?
gonna say, Marley?
S tier?
Okay.
I don't like
Okay.
popcorn.
S tier
It gets
because
stuck in my
it gets stuck
teeth.
in that gets stuck in my yeah. Taste God
Here.
tier. Stuck in your teeth. S tier. So S for stuck in your teeth.
Okay. Yeah. Uh can we talk about popcorn for a little bit before we move on?
Oh yeah, of
Uh
course. Why not?
it's movie theater popcorn is the best. Like I know like all of these other
Mhm.
like popcorn companies, like store like bought companies like are trying to emulate the pop movie theater popcorn experience, but they will never do it because I when I
They would
worked at the
never
movie
do it.
theater
It's gross.
when I worked at a movie theater, I had special like I had customers that would walk into the movie theater and just buy the movie theater popcorn and then walk out. Like it's that good. I
Mhm.
want to know what they do to it. I want to know what because the way they pop it, it's nothing special. They just use
Mhm.
oil and popcorn and pop it in that kettle. It must be like
Mhm.
some pheromones that the movie theater is spraying like all over the theater
It
where as
must
soon as you
be.
yeah that
No, it's definitely. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no,
no
it must be some pheromones or like something because it's like what movie theater popcorn smells like, and you really like even though it's like the butter is oil, which I don't mind, it's still delicious. Like I'm an extra
mhm,
butter girl, and I'm like,
yeah,
please layer the popcorn. Like my local theater, they do a great job. What they do is they put like the first layer of popcorn on the bottom, then they layer the butter, and well they put and then they put more popcorn, and then they add a top layer and they shake it up, and it's like so good. So you won't like have that top layer of just butter and then just like dry popcorn.
see
Like they
okay
do a good job.
I know I because I agree with you. I think popcorn is god tier. It's like the best movie theater snack. But what you just said right there is the reason why I'm bumping it down to S tier is because there's so many factors to making it great. Where it's like you have to
Hmm.
specifically ask the concessionist, can you layer it, shake it up every single layer? Like there's so many like factors in order to kind of like have like the perfect movie theater popcorn experience, which is why I feel
Hmm.
like it should be S tier. And also, here's the thing. This is like my pitch for movie theaters for to kind of like shake up like the popcorn game. I know you probably shouldn't be shaking up like the popcorn game, but can we get some nacho cheese on that popcorn as well? Am I crazy for
Yes.
thinking that?
No, you're not crazy because okay, at the small theater that's nearby is like they actually have basically I think my local theater has this too, but I don't even bother because I'm like how long has that stuff been sitting out there? But my the smaller independent that that's local, like they have like basically a popcorn bar. So they have like nacho cheese, they have parmesan cheese, they have like they have like all the fixings. People, they have like a caramel shake type of thing, like, and you could tell they go through and make sure the area is all cleaned up. And again, it's a small theater, just it's a single plex theater. They also have like coffee and wine, like they're boot. So like it's really nice. So I always make sure I like sprinkle my little nacho cheese or whatever, or bacon salt. They also have that too. Oh man, that's so good. Which
Right.
is so funny. Like, I know I say I don't eat pork, but bacon salt, it doesn't have pork in it. So it's just like the taste of bacon, but it's popcorn. And it's
Right.
delicious.
Vegan bacon salt. Vegan bacon salt.
Yes.
That's uh yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I think I think we agreed about popcorn going down to S tier, just based on the
Yeah,
factors alone.
that's
And
fine.
movie theaters need to get weird with your popcorn. Get weird with it. That's what I want.
Hmm.
Uh, like I
If
know
I
there's
owned
nothing.
a theater, like, I'm gonna say this. Okay, I think one of my goals in life, and I kind of see, like, I gotta look into this more, but one of my goals is to own a movie theater, like an independently run movie theater. And I kind of want to do that. I definitely want to do like a popcorn bar type of thing where people could order different flavors. I think that'd be so amazing.
Let's run some names by like what that popcorn theater would be called. Uh, shoot. What I'm struggling right now. Pop cinema. I don't know.
I have no idea, but yeah, no, I'll think about it if I decide to go with it.
Yeah.
But I think that would be so much fun. Like, there's also like this truffle butter popcorn that I had somewhere, like at like I don't know if it was at a movie. I don't think it was at a movie theater, but it was like they just happened. It was at a restaurant, like a bar. I think it was at a bar, and they had
Right.
truffle flavored popcorn, and it was delicious. Like, yeah, more of that stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Exactly. Get weird with it. Um, Goobers. I've never even heard of this candy, so this is going all to you.
I had it. Okay. Oh, I have a story behind Goobers. Goobers traumatized me because I thought they were Raisinets when this is when I started getting allergic reactions. This is why I thought they were Raisinets. I ate them because they're covered peanuts, and yeah, it was bad. So D tier. D for
Okay.
death.
All right.
Near death experience.
Goobers are being goober. Goobers are being goober. So D tier. I agree with you there. I'll just take your word for it. Uh,
Yeah.
Gummy bears. Gummy bears.
Um, mm, hmm.
I'm stumped. I'm stumped right now too because these are nostalgic. They're nostalgic, but I
Yeah,
don't eat them anymore. But they're not bad.
yeah.
I
They're
I, I
not bad,
feel
but
like
they're also not good either.
I feel like they are like dots, but dots have like a really tough texture to them. Gummy bears have like that
Mhm.
soft like exterior, and they kind of, I
Mhm.
know they're not juicy, but you get kind of like a juicy like experience from it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I would
I don't
say,
eat.
do you want to do A tier or B tier? That's kind of what I'm going with.
I'm thinking A tier. I'm thinking A tier for gummy bears
Okay.
because
Okay, let's do A tier.
because they're nostalgic. I don't get them anymore, but like if I were to get them, I wouldn't be mad. So
Yeah,
yeah,
same
let's
here.
go A tier.
Yeah.
Let's go A tier.
Mhm.
Uh, pizza.
I've never gotten pizza at a movie theater. I have never have. And like, here's the thing, even when I'm given the option, like if I go to like like an AMC movie theater, or like one of those like kind of bougie movie theaters, I feel like the pizza is like, I mean, I don't know. It's like I feel like it's not going to be the best pizza. I'd rather actually go to like a pizzeria than going to a movie theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I know I had like a really long tangent about why I don't like hot food in movie theaters because of the smell.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
and it's also
I'm
the
gonna
smell too. Like pizza's overpowering.
I'm gonna be contradicting
Like,
myself, like right now, because I'm gonna lie. I would lie. I would be lying if I didn't get a pizza at my local Cinemark theater, because they have Pizza Hut. They have Pizza Hut pizza. I know it's not actually Pizza Hut pizza.
ooh, that's so good though. Yes.
So
Okay,
I
if
I
it's Pizza
usually
Hut pizza, that's fine.
yeah
Yeah.
like I know I hate that I'm contradicting myself right now because I don't like hot food, but that pizza it's pretty fire. I can't put it
Oh,
A
it
tier though.
hits. It hits. Oh man. Okay, so if we're talking about the Pizza Hut pizza, God tier. If we're talking like I don't know, like I don't it's hard to like I'm thinking like concession stand from like I would say like a baseball game type of concession stand, but not from like a local place.
Yeah,
Like I'm thinking like high school concession stand for pizza. That's where my mind goes.
like the Red
But
Baron
you're
pizza
but
that you find in the freezer section.
yes. But I survived off of those in college. So I'm like,
Oh, me
okay,
too.
survival mode. You know? But I'm just like also thinking it it really all depends. So I'm gonna say like maybe an S tier or an A tier, you know? But again, it depends on who's making it.
Yeah, I no, I think I might go. I know I say I get like a Pizza Hut pizza like every time, pretty close to every time I go to the movie theater at my local Cinemark. I gotta go B tier because there's so many factors.
B tier,
Because
that's
like
fair. That's
I
fair.
think that's fair. Like it's not bad, but like it goes against like it goes like what I was saying about hot food in movie theaters. How I don't like the smell, but pizza's awesome. I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So B's fair.
B. B is fair.
Okay, okay. Let's go B. Uh, is that pretzel bites with nacho cheese?
Yes. And yes, and that sounds so delicious. Oh, I didn't eat dinner, so yeah. But I'm like, oh, I'm hungry.
Sorry,
No,
I'm sorry.
no, it's all good. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. But okay, here's the thing. I'm comparing it to like my experiences at movie theaters, which I think we all are. Or we both are. But okay, I've had pretzels probably about I could probably name on like definitely less than 5 at a theater. And every time the pretzel is a weird texture. It's like always like half frozen. I feel like it's always so salty and I don't mind salt. I don't. But it's like too dry. So it's like I have it with cheese or like extra mustard. But the thing about the mustard, if they give you just mustard packets, it's it's hard to like deal with that at a theater and it sucks because I'm like I don't need to get mustard all over my clothes, you know. If it's kind of like how it is in the display that we see right now, so check out Riley's YouTube video.
Yeah.
Um then I'm fine with it. If it's like little bites, then that's fine. If it's like a whole pretzel, if it's one of the like pretzels that you get on the I forgot who makes those pretzels. If it's like I don't know if local theaters do this or if that's a deal, but the like if it's like the Auntie Anne's pretzels, oh yeah, I'm getting one of those. But I've never seen those at a local theater. If it's like those pretzels, that's hit or miss, you know.
It's like those
And
frozen
I think
pretzels. Those frozen pretzels
yes,
that you get at the frozen
exactly,
section.
exactly.
And
And again, those are hit or miss.
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go.
So,
I'm gonna
so
I'm gonna go on the record and just say that I don't like pretzels. I think
oh, see,
especially hot pretzels like are shown in the picture that you dip in like cheese or mustard cheese. I don't
mhm.
understand the appeal. I never understood the appeal. I don't think they're Mike and Ike bad or Cracker Jacks or Goobers bad. So I'm willing to compromise with a C. But
I wouldn't put.
I'm
Okay, I
willing to
would say
go
from
in
the
your
movie
direction.
theater. I would say the movie theater experience for pretzels is not the best one. I never see people buy pretzels at a movie theater, and I rarely have it. Like pretzels for me in a movie theater setting. Like, let me be clear, we're talking about movie theater settings. In a movie theater setting, pretzels are definitely C tier. If I'm going to like a restaurant or if I'm going to an Auntie Anne's, they're God tier.
Okay,
But
yeah.
movie theater setting, C.
Okay, so we agree. C. This is the movie theater snack rank. So let's go C. Okay. Taste the Rainbow. Skittles.
Oh, Skittles.
God tier.
They sometimes taste like wax. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, they're God tier.
Yeah. I will agree with you. They do taste like wax, like all of the candy from our childhood. But Taste the Rainbow. It's like, how can
Taste
you?
the Rainbow. I kind of want to put them down to S tier because I just taste like artificial food coloring. The rainbow.
No, I'm willing to. I'm willing to side with you because I don't eat Skittles often, but when I do have them, I have a good time. But yeah, S rank, S for Skittles. S for Skittles. Let's make it easy on that. What are snow caps?
I've never had them in my life. Ever.
Is
Ever.
it coconut?
Ever.
Is it coconut?
I have no idea. I see them everywhere and I never have had them. I've never met anyone who has had them. I'm thinking I'm putting a D tier because who eats them?
I think this
I'm
is
sorry,
like
your audience, who actually has. Okay, give Marley some love in the comments and say, "Hey, I like these snow cap things. They're amazing. Y'all should try it." You're like, "No, don't worth it. They taste nasty." Then that's fine.
Well, no, everyone should comment and see and get me to 100 subscribers here on YouTube. And if I get to 100 subscribers, I will actually try snow caps and I will give a review of them on the channel. So if I get to 100 subscribers,
I should do that too.
Yeah,
I should do that too. Like, okay, my goal is to go to 600K or 6,000. Yeah, 6. So I'm almost at 6K. Sorry, I words 6K on Instagram. If I reach 6K, I will eat those and do my review.
Okay, but
if they don't have any nuts in them, I don't think they do.
So 6K for you, and then 100 for me here on YouTube.
Yep.
My opinions on snow caps now is I think that they're for elderly people. So I think when old people go to the movie theaters, they're like, I'm gonna get snow caps and watch Oppenheimer on 70 millimeter. And I'm like, or I'm gonna get some snow caps and watch Book Club the next chapter. So for that reason,
I've never seen some snow caps, so no.
So for that reason alone, I'm gonna go D.
We'll try them.
Well. So, yeah, Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, God tier. That is my favorite movie candy. It is.
I don't like Sour Patch Kids, but I can't argue with you because when I do have them, it's not like I think that they're bad. They're just not for me. But it's just
fair. That's fair.
They're a little bit too sweet, but I do like that it's like that sweet and sour kind of like aesthetic and like the experience that I'm having. I just don't like having that experience like all the time. So it's not my go-to, but I'm willing to side with you since you're the guest here on the show and put Sour Patch Kids at God tier. So
yes, and also that movie theater hack too. Sour Patch Kids are really good in popcorn. I know it sounds weird, but it's delicious. If you want to do the fruity side instead of the chocolatey side, that's delicious. Yeah, and also too, if you go to a movie theater that serves alcohol and they happen to have cider on tap, that is also a really good combination too that I learned a few years ago. So
I'll have to try
if you get cider.
I'll have to try the popcorn and Sour Patch Kids. I can't try the cider because I don't drink anymore, but that sounds like a really good
Yeah,
hack.
I mean, I don't either, but back in my heyday, I was just like, yo, that's delicious.
Oh yeah, back in my heyday, I've been like, hey, let's go.
Yeah, no, people out there that have like, okay, this is actually the movie I was watching when I discovered that. I was watching The Lighthouse. That is a fun movie to drink to.
I haven't seen
it was good. Oh, you haven't seen The Lighthouse? Oh, you have to watch it. You have to watch it.
It's on the 250,
man.
and it's an A24 film, so I can actually watch it because it's not struck. So.
Oh yes. Yeah. That was I went to like a independently run theater, so of course they had like beer on tap and stuff, and they were playing The Lighthouse, and that's how I discovered the Sour Patch Kids and the popcorn and have like a cider, and it was a good time.
that sounds like a really great time.
Like Lighthouse.
that sounds like a great time. Yep. But everyone, if you're watching here on YouTube, what do you think of our ranking of these movie theater snacks? Is it completely wrong? Are we right? Argue about it or fight about it in the comments down below. Keep it civil though. So this isn't a TikTok comment section. This is a YouTube comment section.
What did we put on TikTok? I'm kind of curious. what people had to say on TikTok.
Maybe I'll post a clip. I'll post a clip of some of our hot takes on movie theater snacks. But yeah, Megan, it's always great to talk to you. Here on the podcast, we DM constantly back and forth like about like the summer movie wager and stuff like that. But here's your one last like you won. Well, the summer isn't officially over, but I'm kind of deeming you the winner for the summer movie wager. Here's your your one last victory lap on you just crushing Tyrone from the Circle Club and I. Like
we'll see. I mean, we'll see how Blue Beetle does, and what's that other movie that's on the list? I forget. But yeah, we'll see how Blue Beetle does. But I think it's being pushed back. Is it? I don't know.
I think Blue Beetle is coming out in 2 weeks because this week is great.
So we'll see how Blue Beetle does because that was my number 5. I want to say I don't remember, but it was my top 10. So victory lap.
Yeah. The next film that I have that I'm hoping will save me, which is ridiculous, is Strays. Which
oh no, that movie looks terrible. I'm sorry.
I'm just dead in the water at this point. Like my list is just dead in the water. The Meg for me disappointed and totally fell flat on its face. Fast 10, Fast X fell out of the top 10. Book Club: The Next Chapter is a film that just destroyed me.
Which I'm like, why did you pick Book Club: The Next Chapter? And I understand why, because we did a live about it, but I'm like, dude, bruh, I'm judging.
Listen, I got proof right here of 80 for Brady, why I love elderly white women. And I just knew that this movie released on Mother's Day, and it feels like these elderly white women would come out of their book nooks and see Book Club 2, The Next Chapter. But in reality, they just waited for Peacock like I did, and I thought it was fine. So
no, the old ladies were at Oppenheimer. I'm telling you, there were so many old people that went to see Oppenheimer. When I saw it, I'm like, yo!
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah, but they were not expecting what it was. It was like a lot of old women and their husbands. Like, and their so it's clearly like their husbands like dragged them to it.
Yeah, and the old women went to go. They're like, "I'll only go see this movie if we see Barbie after." So
Yeah. And that's pretty much what it was. Like, I think when I did my double feature, I think I did see a couple of people that saw Barbie after, or like they originally weren't going to see it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll see Barbie."
right, right. But congratulations, Megan. I know we have a couple more movies left
Thank
to go,
you.
but I feel like Blue Beetle. It might be a little bit too late for Blue Beetle and DC. All the DC movies like feel like they have all fell flat. Like I'm very glad that the Flash kind of flopped big time, to be honest,
Me too.
because because
Me too.
because I remember like our live where like this movie is gonna make billions because like because everyone was saying it's like everyone was coming out of the woods saying like, hey, this is the best superhero movie like ever, and boy were they wrong. So
Oh yeah, no, people were mostly boycotting it for Ezra Miller, which I'm like, oh, thank goodness. But I put Flash on my top 10, not because I was rooting for it, but because I was just like, I feel like people are still gonna watch it regardless because they're like, oh, I just like movies. I don't care. But the TikTok brigade was not having it, you know.
right.
A lot of people weren't having it. I wasn't gonna watch it, even though I put it on my top 10. Same thing with Fast X. I wasn't gonna watch that. I put it on top 10.
But you still have to marathon all the Fast and Furious
I do
movies.
have to
So
marathon all of them, so I'm gonna do that eventually. I don't know.
you have plenty of
I'm
time.
not gonna do a
You just pace
review yet.
yourself.
I have plenty
Pace
of time.
yourself.
Yeah,
Pace yourself. So
it's a lot. It's gonna be a chore.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Megan, it's always lovely to have you on the show. Where can the lovely people find you online?
Yeah, so you can find me at Megan's World on Instagram on what's that thing called? Threads. You can also find me on TikTok and Letterboxd. So that is MEAGANZ World, Megan's World. And yeah, I do movie reviews, pop culture stuff, and yeah, it's a good time. And I'm trying to review films that are not struck and projects that are not struck and more independent projects. So if you are a creator, have done an independent project, please let me know. I will definitely check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Check out Megan's channels everywhere where she is at. The username is cleverly like put in the bottom left hand corner of her screen. You could follow me at Marley Loves Film pretty much everywhere. I'm on YouTube here. Subscribe to the channel at Marley Loves Film. Follow me on X, Twitter, whatever that platform is called. I don't even know anymore. So I'm just calling it Twitter. We have like Twitter like here in the layout, so I'll always call it Twitter no matter like what the CEO or rich billionaire buys like the platform and runs it to the ground. You can follow me on Instagram or Threads at Marley Loves Film and TikTok at Marley Loves Film as well. I'm just kind of like posting like about movies pretty much everywhere. That's really kind of like my motto. Let's talk about movies here on the internet. You can listen to this podcast anywhere where you listen to the podcast: Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Give us a rate and a review, and yeah. Kind of like going back to like what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, we won't be doing any of the movies in the Letterboxd top 250 from struck companies. So keep just kind of like stay put with us like on that series, because I'm kind of like going through the entire list on seeing like what movies I can actually cover. It's kind of it's a lot of work figuring out like what movies are struck and what movies aren't because there's so many different parent companies and stuff like that. But yeah, the Letterboxd Top 250 series is still going. It's just until the writers and actors actually get paid, which if they get paid tomorrow, everything will be back to normal. But until then, we stand with the writers and actors, Megan and I. But yeah, uh, but I'm Marley Silverbrand with the Real Livers podcast, and
I'm Megan with Megan's World.
and keep loving movies. We'll see you later. All right. Let's end the broadcast.
Yay, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Sorry about